Emeka was a kind-hearted but overweight boy who was constantly bullied at school because of his size. His classmates mocked him with cruel names, laughed at him during assemblies, excluded him from group work, and even made a viral video that humiliated him further. Though he found brief hope through a caring school counselor, the bullying overwhelmed him. Feeling invisible, exhausted, and hopeless, Emeka took his own life by suicide. The story of Emeka teaches that words can hurt deeply, and bullying, especially when ignored, can lead to devastating consequences. It reminds us that every person has a breaking point, and kindness, empathy, and inclusion can save lives. Most importantly, it teaches us to speak up against bullying, support those who are silently suffering, and create safe spaces for people to express themselves. No one should feel so alone that death feels like their only peace. Stop bully now. Please stop bullying.
From the moment Emeka stepped into Kingsfield College, his presence drew attention, not for brilliance or mischief, but for his size. He was only 12, but already larger than most of the senior students. His uniform, though custom-made, always seemed tight at the chest and clung to his body in uncomfortable ways. On his first day, students pointed and whispered, some laughing behind cupped hands. During morning assembly, a boy behind him muttered, "Make sure he doesn't fall. We'll all go down with him." The laughter that followed made Emeka shrink a little inside. He walked through the hallways like a ghost wrapped in flesh, visible but ignored, present but not embraced. At lunch, he sat alone on the last bench behind the kitchen block, where no one could joke about his extra spoon of rice. He tried to be invisible, but his body wouldn't let him. Inside, he was just a boy wanting to be liked. But the world only saw the weight. Emeka's days were filled with small moments that stung like paper cuts, each one minor but collectively overwhelming. When teachers asked the class to form groups, his classmates would shuffle nervously, trying to avoid him. "Let's be 4, they'd say. There's no space for 5, though they had space for 6 if they wanted to." In physical education, the coach shouted louder whenever Emeka lagged behind. "Move those legs. Burn some of that lunch," the man would bark. Emeka laughed softly along, but inside, he wilted. One time, a girl threw a snack wrapper at him and said, "You like food? Take this one too." The others laughed. So did Emeka. What else could he do? Even at home, the jokes continued. His uncle patted his belly during a visit and said, "You're not building a house in there, are you?" Everyone laughed except Emeka. He stared at his food and lost his appetite. But no one noticed. When the school announced a drama performance for Cultural Day, Emeka finally felt a spark of excitement. He loved acting and hoped to join in. But during auditions, while discussing roles for tribal kings and warriors, a boy named Chinoza stood and said loudly, "Let Emeka be the throne. At least he looks like one." The class exploded in laughter. Someone added, "Yeah, make him the royal seat, he already has the weight for it." Even the drama teacher chuckled before saying, all right, focus." But the damage had been done. Emeka stood there frozen, trying to hold back tears. He excused himself and walked straight to the generator house behind the science block. He sat there for hours, crying silently. That night, he tore his school shirt in frustration. His mother found the pieces but said nothing. She thought it was just teenage stress. She didn't know it was heartbreak. When Mrs. Oninai, the new school counselor, arrived, she brought hope wrapped in gentleness. She introduced weekly sessions called Let's Talk, where any student could walk in and unburden their heart. Most students mocked it, but one Thursday, Emeka showed up. He didn't speak during the first session. He just sat quietly, staring at his palms. Mrs. Oninai didn't force him to speak. She offered him a warm drink and simply said, "You're safe here." He came back the following week, and the week after that. Slowly, he opened up about the names, the shame, the isolation. He cried. She listened. She never interrupted or offered cliché advice. Instead, she gave him a journal, breathing exercises, and helped him write affirmations like, I am not my weight. I am a person with a story. For a while, Emeka felt light again. He smiled more. He started working before school. He even considered joining the poetry club. But healing, as he would learn, is fragile. During one particularly hot morning assembly, students were asked to jog around the field. Emeka, determined to participate this time, joined in. Though his legs ached and sweat drenched his shirt, he pressed on. What he didn't know was that Tope, one of his classmates, had recorded a video of him running. That evening, Tope edited it, added elephant stomping sound effects, and posted it to a group chat with the caption, When Emeka runs, tectonic plates tremble. By the next day, everyone had seen it. Phones flashed with the video. Laughter followed Emeka from corridor to classroom. Someone played the audio in front of him during break. He froze. He didn't eat. He didn't speak. His hands trembled as he walked past them, eyes fixed on the floor. He went home that day and locked himself in the toilet for an hour. When he came out, his eyes were dry, but his spirit felt buried. The video didn't just hurt, it destroyed the last piece of safety he had built around himself. That night, Emeka sat on his bed in silence. His room was quiet. No TV. No music. Just the sound of his own heartbeat. He opened his journal and flipped through pages filled with hopeful quotes and small victories. He read the page where he had once written, Today I looked in the mirror and didn't cry. Progress. But tonight, the mirror didn't matter. He turned to a blank page and wrote, I've tried. I've waited. I've begged God to make me smaller, quieter, invisible. But nothing changes. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just tired. Maybe in sleep, there's peace. Maybe in silence, I'll finally be seen. He placed the journal under his pillow, swallowed an entire bottle of sleeping pills from his uncle's drawer, and laid down in the dark. The next morning, Emeka's mother tried waking him for school. He didn't move. She shook him. Nothing. Panic gripped her as she screamed for help. Within hours, news spread across the school like wildfire. Students whispered, cried, collapsed. His seat in class sat empty. His locker remained untouched. At assembly, the principal stood before the students and said, with trembling voice, with deep sorrow, we announce the passing of Emeka Obi. The silence was unbearable. Some students wept openly. Tope, who made the video, ran out of the hall and collapsed under a tree, shaking. Mrs. Onyenai addressed the students later that week, tears rolling freely as she read Emeka's final journal entry aloud. He was not weak. He was exhausted. And we failed him. 1 month after his funeral, Kingsfield College created an anti-bullying movement called the Emeka Project, Room for Love. His journal was turned into a booklet distributed to every new student. A mural of Emeka, smiling gently, was painted on the school wall with the words, Let the weight of my silence teach you how to listen. Every year on his birthday, the school holds a candlelight vigil where students read letters they've written to someone they once ignored, or someone they once bullied. And every time a student speaks up for another, Emeka lives on.